right, guys, it is coming up on 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in to a tropical or Hurricane Ida update. Now, of course, this storm earlier today did make landfall over Cuba, and it is currently sitting over the western tip of Cuba as a Category 1 hurricane. However, the model runs have been really, really good and consistent. And now, unfortunately, this storm is supposed to become a Category 4. Yes, a Category 4 hurricane before making landfall on the coastline of Louisiana by the time we move into the day on Sunday. So this is a very serious situation. So what I want to do is I want to show you the actual track, and then I want to go region by region and show you exactly what you can expect if you were in South Mississippi or near the New Orleans, Louisiana area, or if you were there in central Mississippi. So once again, we are looking right now at the center of circulation of the Hurricane Ida. And as you can see, it is sitting here over the western tip of Cuba, and then it is supposed to go into the Gulf. And then there you can see Category 3, Category 4, and Category 4 by the time we get into Sunday at 1 o'clock. And look at this. Maximum sustained winds at that time are going to be close to 140 miles per hour with maximum gust up to 165 miles per hour. That is an extremely dangerous hurricane about to make landfall probably sometime around sunset near the Grand Isle, Louisiana, and south of Yuma, Louisiana, and then it's supposed to go a little west of New Orleans and then become a hurricane over southwestern Mississippi just off to the east of Natchez, and then it's supposed to go in between Vicksburg and Jackson, and then eventually take a track up here closer to the Oxford and Pontotoc area of northern Mississippi. Now, when it's back over here near the Natchez, Mississippi area, winds are still going to be 45 with gusts upwards of 60, and that can desperately and definitely knock down trees and power lines. And when it is south of Baton Rouge and west of New Orleans, 90 mile per hour winds with gusts upwards of 115. So this is a very serious situation coming in here towards the Louisiana coastline. And then, of course, it's going to be felt over here towards the Gulfport and the Pascagoula area in Mississippi as well. So this is going to be a rather significant threat of a life-threatening hurricane coming towards the areas down there in the marshes area of Louisiana. And there you can see it is really wrapping up, and we expect rapid intensification once it gets back over the Gulf of Mexico. Now, what I want to do is I want to switch off of the radar and go region by region and show you guys what exactly you can expect. So your screen is going to go dark here for just a second while I switch over. And I do want to thank everybody for watching this. Okay, so I'm going to put this up full screen. Okay, so here is the current track from the National Weather Service in Baton Rouge and New Orleans. Significant impacts are possible, including deadly storm surge, damaging straight line winds, heavy rainfall, and then, of course, the outside risk of an isolated tornado. Okay, so that is the situation overview. Here is the most interesting part of this whole system. The entire area of southeast Louisiana and basically south of Macomb, Mississippi, over to the coastline of Mississippi is now underneath a hurricane watch. And this area is expected to bring damaging winds upwards of hurricane force to the areas including Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Yuma, Louisiana, New Orleans, then along the coast of Biloxi, Gulfport, Pascagoula, Covington, and then, of course, Picayune, Mississippi as well. Increased waves and seas, gusty winds with the potential for winds over 100 miles per hour, and make sure that you secure loose items. And this is over portions of southeast Louisiana and all of coastal Mississippi. So this is a hurricane watch, and there is a good possibility that this will be upgraded to a hurricane warning by the time we get over here into the day tomorrow. All right, so that includes a good portion. Now, I'm going to zoom this in as close as I can for you guys. And as you can see, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Lafayette, Louisiana, New Orleans, Louisiana, and Yuma, Louisiana are expected to see winds greater than 110 miles per hour possible with this storm. So once again, Lafayette, Louisiana, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Yuma, Boothville. You guys are supposed to see 110 miles per hour or greater with this storm system. Now, around that, Macomb, Mississippi, Picayune, Mississippi, Covington, Louisiana, places like that, you guys are expected to see winds of 74 to 110 miles per hour. And then around that, for Brookhaven, Mississippi, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Gulfport, Mississippi, Pascagoula, Mississippi, Ocean Springs, Laurel, Ellisville, you guys are supposed to see wind gusts of 58 to 73 miles per hour, and that is across a good portion of the Pine Belt area of Mississippi. So once again, Macomb, Mississippi, and Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Poplersville, Purvis, Bay Springs, Mississippi, Soso, Mississippi, Laurel, Ellisville, places like that are supposed to see anywhere from winds of 58 miles per hour all the way up to 110 miles per hour. Now, let me just go on ahead and highlight this for you guys. Expect widespread power outages with damage and or structural damage in the red or the purple areas. Take efforts now to protect life and property from this dangerous storm. Act right now to complete preparation before the winds become too hazardous to do anything outside, and make sure that you always heed local evacuation orders if you need to evacuate immediately. Okay, so that is the forecast wind threat from Ida. Here is the rain and flooding threat with Ida. And as you can see, New Orleans is supposed to see 8 to 10 inches of rain with this storm. Yuma and Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 10 to 15 inches of rain. Macomb, Mississippi, anywhere from 6 to 8 inches of rain. And then Hattiesburg and into the Pine Belt area of Mississippi, 4 to 6 inches of rain. So around the Baton Rouge and New Orleans areas, rainfall amounts of 8 to 16 inches, with locally higher amounts are likely associated with Ida. And this is basically from Saturday morning through Tuesday morning. and this is for all areas in southeast Louisiana and portions of the coastline of Mississippi. So once again, if you were in Pascagoula, Gulfport, Biloxi, Ocean Springs, 4 to 6 inches of rain. Poplarsville, Purvis, Hattiesburg, and Macomb are supposed to see 6 to 8 inches of rain. Baton Rouge and Yuma, Louisiana, 10 to 15 inches of rain. And then around the New Orleans metro area, 8 to 10 inches of rain with locally higher amounts. So flooded roadways, locally heavy rainfall, and make sure you never cross a barricade over a flooded road. So that is the rainfall area from Ida, from southern Mississippi into Louisiana. Now, we also have Ida likely to deliver widespread flash flooding to portions of southeast Louisiana and South Mississippi. There is also a threat of a few isolated spin-up tornadoes, and this does include Macomb, Mississippi, Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, Gulfport, Mississippi, Pascagoula, Mississippi, and all of the area in and around Baton Rouge and New Orleans. Okay, so this is beginning on Sunday through Tuesday, and these are going to be isolated, short-lived, and fast-moving tornadoes, which may bring localized damage and threatened areas that are highlighted. Please make sure that you have a way of receiving warnings should they be issued. However, I do want to caution you, with landfalling hurricanes and tropical systems, these tornadoes are really, really short-lived because the tops of the thunderstorms are not that high. So the Weather Service radar may not even pick up an isolated tornado before it drops and does damage and it picks back up off the ground. So that is why you need to prepare for the possibility of life-threatening, short-lived, fast-moving, isolated spin-up tornadoes. And let me also say this. These are not going to be the ones that are on the ground for a long time. They are going to be there for 30 seconds to a minute to 2 minutes to 3 minutes, and they're gone, just like that. But they can still do a lot of damage because of the wind shear involved with the severe weather potential and hurricanes. So once again, your outside threat is going to be the isolated, short-lived, and fast-moving tornadoes in and around the areas there that are highlighted in the yellow. And this does include a good portion of southeast Louisiana and southern Mississippi. Okay, so that is what you can expect along the coastline for Louisiana. Now let's move a little bit further off to the north and check on our friends up here in central, northern, and east Mississippi. All right, so Sunday night through Tuesday. Basically, if you are from the Highway 82 corridor, which is basically Greenville to Greenwood to Eupora to Columbus and points off to the south in the orange shaded area, 5 to 8 inches of rain are likely with this system for the orange shaded areas, and this includes Yazoo City, Vicksburg, Jackson, Kosciuszko, Brookhaven, Laurel, Meridian, Philadelphia, Columbus, Starkville, Eupora, West Point, and Louisville, Mississippi, 5 to 8 inches of rain with locally higher amounts possible. Now, if you are in the delta of Mississippi, Greenwood, Greenville, Cleveland, Natchez, Mississippi, 3 to 5 inches of rain are possible with this storm. Now, let me also go back and show you this. With the track of this storm, if it shifts a little bit further off to the east, the delta of Mississippi will not see much rain. If it shifts further back towards the west, back towards Lake Charles, then that's going to put a lot of the delta of Mississippi under the gun for heavy rain. Because with a tropical system, folks, the wettest and most dangerous side is always the east side. So that is why a good portion of central Mississippi and eastern Mississippi has the majority of the rain, is because they are going to be on the east side of the track of this storm, and everybody on the west side, that is the dry side, and that is going to be the area of less concern, basically from southern Arkansas into the delta of Mississippi. Now, the wind threat is also going to be an issue for you over here in Mississippi as well. And as you can see down here from Natchez up to Brookhaven and over to a place near Purvis, Mississippi, you can see widespread down trees and power lines, some damage to roofs and homes. Many roads will be blocked and power outages, and some communication outages lasting for several days. And that is in the orange shaded area down along the Pine Belt area of Mississippi, with mile-per-hour winds of 45 to 65 mile-per-hour winds. Everybody else is supposed to see 30 to 45 mile-per-hour winds with this storm system. Now, the National Weather Service in Birmingham is going to hold off until tomorrow to release their graphics for West Alabama. So we don't really have anything right now from Central Alabama or West Alabama because, like I said, the Weather Service in Birmingham is going to hold off until tomorrow before they release their information on the impacts here locally in the state of Alabama. But you know, Louisiana and Mississippi are going to get it before Alabama does. And so that gives the National Weather Service in Birmingham enough time to go on ahead and think over some things and get the latest data in until tomorrow before they put out a graphic for our area here in Alabama. But guys, I just wanted to jump on here and once again show you that this is going to be a major player next week and into the week later this week and into next week for a good portion of South Louisiana and Central and South Mississippi. So going ahead and prepare now. Prepare for the worst, but hope and pray for the best. But this is going to be a pretty significant event that is going to unfortunately hit on the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, unfortunately. So everybody down in New Orleans remembers Hurricane Katrina, and unfortunately this system is it's looking like it is to be a similar situation in the size of wind damage that is expected down there along the marshes and the coastline of Louisiana and southern Mississippi. So once again, I will continue to provide updates on this system as we get into tomorrow and as we get into the day on Sunday. So this is the only video that I'm going to do for this evening. However, as we get into the day tomorrow, and then of course on Sunday, I will be doing frequent updates. And then as we head towards the landfall location, I will be providing long form severe weather coverage for you guys right here on social media. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over, I'm going to pop back on Radar Omega for a second, and I am going to see if you guys have any comments or concerns for me, and I'm going to take some time to answer those here very shortly. And so I've got the radar pulled back up, and of course there is the track of Ida right now, as it is currently over Cuba right now, and then it is supposed to get over into the Gulf of Mexico and become a hurricane, or a Category 2 hurricane, by 1 a.m. in the morning, and then rapid intensification tomorrow and into the day on Sunday. So that is the issue of concern. But there, of course, as you can see, is the radar currently right now. And I'm going to switch over here and see if you guys have any questions or comments for me. Okay, I hope this is okay. Tina, if you were still watching, you said that this was going to be Highway 305 near Hernando, Mississippi. And I can actually, and like I said, guys, I do apologize because when I run the radar, I'm not able to look at comments. So I hope that you guys are still watching. But I wanted to say that it will not be impacted Hernando until the 31st at 1 p.m. And as this track, if this track goes the same way that it is right now, then Hernando would be on the much drier side of the storm right now compared to the wetter side. So Hernando might actually only see 1 to 2 inches of rain with this storm. However, if you're closer to the Pontotoc or Tupelo, Mississippi area, you might see a lot more rain from the system. So if you wanted more rain in Hernando, you would hope that the track would go a little bit further off to the west. If you do not want the rain in Hernando, you want it to stay on that track right there, because the most significant rain, if it stayed on that track, would basically be from an area south of Corinth and Iuka, Mississippi, all the way down to New Albany, West Point, Amory, and then Tupelo, and then stretching back down here into central and eastern Mississippi. So once again, if you want more heavy rain in Hernando, you want the track to go a little bit further off to the west. If you do not want any of the rainfall, then you want it to stay on the track that it is going right now. So that is the situation that we have ongoing. And as you can see, the cone of uncertainty goes all the way over here to just off to the east of Lake Charles. So it very well could shift further west, or you can see that it moves it over here to near the Bay St. Louis, Mississippi area and Slidell. So it could, the track could go a little bit further off to the east as well. So there is the cone of uncertainty. So I could not rule out the possibility of it going this far east, and I cannot rule out that it goes that far west. Okay, so once again, right now, I cannot rule out the possibility of it going from the Texas-Louisiana border over to the Mississippi-Alabama border. So there's going to be some wobbles in the track of this system over the next 12 to 24 hours. That's why when I was saying yesterday, you've got to always make sure that twice a day you need, and especially if you are down here closer to Louisiana, Mississippi, and the coastline of Alabama, you really need to keep abreast of the latest track of Hurricane Ida. So, guys, I'm telling you, this is not a time to panic. This is a time to prepare and get out of the way of this storm system. So that is the situation that we have ongoing right now. I'm going to sign off of social media. I intend to do another severe weather update for you guys in the morning, and then tomorrow afternoon or evening as well, and then more frequent updates as we get into the day on Sunday, and then long form coverage as we close in on the landfall of Hurricane Ida. So, guys, as always, I hope y'all have a safe and blessed Friday evening, a great Saturday. Prepare, and have multiple ways of receiving warnings. I will continue to update you guys on the latest weather information. And as always, God bless. See you guys right back here tomorrow morning for another Hurricane Ida update.